There is one more operation that we have to do before we start putting our bucket together. There has to be a way to drain this bucket. We don't want the water to come all the way up to the bottom of the soil and prevent the soil from getting the oxygen it needs. So what we do is we drill a couple of 3 holes around the bucket on the sides so that the water will drain out when it gets to that level. Again, it's not rocket science. We can take our wicking basket and just sort of eyeball something, below here. Maybe come down about right there. Or we can get our tape measure, and we know that this wicking basket is 4 inches high, so we can come up about 2.5 inches or so and put a mark. And then we can rotate the bucket around a little bit and come up about 2.5 inches or so and make a mark. And maybe do that 3 times around the bucket, 2.5 inches, and make a mark. Now, those are going to be our drain holes for allowing the overflow water to come out of the bucket and still leave some air at the bottom of the soil. So real easy. Now these need to be, wherever you put your marks, you need to put your holes in. You need to be fairly accurate with these. They all need to be about the same level up from the bottom of the bucket. Now I'm using a 1/4 inch drill here, but there's no reason you couldn't use a larger drill, say 3/8 or half even, because all this is for water to drain out, and the bigger the hole, the faster the water will drain out. So that's fine. So here we have a bucket that's got the holes drilled in it for drainage. We put our wicking basket in, and we put our drilled holes lid down on top of the wicking basket, and it doesn't have to fit perfect. It just needs to be there to support the soil. Now, what we have is the soil support, the wicking basket, the holes drilled on the side, and what we're going to do is take our twist ties now and tie these two together so that they won't separate. And this thing won't move over to the side like that. Okay, I don't have a script for these videos, so I always wind up forgetting something. Obviously, the soil sits on the soil support sits on top of the wicking basket, and the fill tube has to go down into the water. It can't sit right here. It's got to go all the way down into the water. So what I've got to do is I've got to drill a hole very close to this edge so that I can put this wicking tube down in here. Again, I happen to have a very well-stocked shop, so I have a hole saw. See the hole saw? That just fits around this, so I can drill a hole right in here, and this will fit right down into it. Look at that. Pretty darn quick, huh? And now, what I can do is I have a place for my fill tube to go right down in there. So I have, a drill. So I have my wicking basket, my soil support, and my fill tube, all ready to go. And all of this fits inside the bucket. Now I have everything I need to put together here. I have some of the smaller twist ties that I'm going to use here. And basically what I do is I line the holes up in the soil support with 1 or 2 or 3 of the holes in the wicking basket. And I just run this twist tie down through there. Bring it back up. My fat little fingers are hard to use this twist tie. And just get it started a little bit. Don't pull it tight yet, because we need to line these holes up. All right, I've got another hole over here that lines up very nicely. So I can put this twist tie through here and into that hole. Make sure I've got it turned in the right direction, because the twist ties only work in one orientation. Zip ties. I keep calling them twist ties. They're zip ties. Now I have 2 ties that will probably hold this together. But since I have 3 ties and I've got another hold over here that's lined up very nicely, I'm going to go ahead and put another zip tie on this side so that I'll have 3 zip ties holding this together. Now I have 3 zip ties almost in a triangle. I line up my top and I tighten them down slowly. I tighten one, not all the way. I tighten another one, again, not all the way. And then I tighten the third one, not all the way. Now I go back and tighten them all the way down so that they've got a good grip on the wicking basket and the soil support. So now I have all of those, that's one piece. And that'll sit in the bottom of the bucket. So here is where I use my scissors or my clippers or whatever to clip these guys off so that we don't have that plastic. So there we are. We have the wicking basket and the soil support. And one thing that I need to point out to you, as you fill this wicking basket, these zip ties, the plastic edges are sharp. They will cut your little fingers. So be very careful when you're packing the soil down into this wicking basket. Now, what we need to do is find our bucket. Where's our bucket? Here's our bucket. And we're just simply going to take this, put it right down in the bucket, get it oriented. Notice where the fill tube is. Now, I really would like the fill tube to be somewhere where I can see the water coming out of one of these holes as I fill it up. So I've got it oriented. Here's the fill tube so I can see that water. Let's put the fill tube down in there. And there we are. We've got it all done. But we have a little bit of a problem. This fill tube kind of flops around. The soil will likely hold it in place. By the way, it doesn't matter which way this is oriented in the bottom, but the soil will probably hold this in place. But I'm going to use one of the longer zip ties and I'm going to tie this to the side of the bucket. Now I'll show you how to do that. Okay, now you can see that this fill tube is in here. It's almost vertical. And all I'm going to do is come down to the second ridge and I'm going to put a couple of dots here that I'm going to drill holes through so that I can put a zip tie through there. So let's take this out, set him aside for a minute, and I'm going to get my drill, put my smaller drill in it. Where I have those dots, I'm simply going to drill a hole. Again, not rocket science, doesn't have to be perfect. And now I have 2 holes that I can take one of the longer zip ties, put it through this way, pull it back through this way, tie it up, just give it a couple of clicks, and then I can put my wicking tube, my filling tube down in there. So you can see how this fits. Now I pull this tight. I use my scissors to cut off the excess. And here we have a completed urban garden basket. If you choose to use the black plastic to cover it up, you can put this back on here and this will hold your plastic down. This is a wonderful way to grow a garden. It keeps deer away from it. If you're out in the country, you can put the garden on your deck or cover it up. Or if you really are an urban dweller, you can put a garden on your patio or on your fire escape landing, wherever you would like to put it. This is a great product.